What's up guys, it's Drew from the Chainsmokers. Please don't write anything mean in the comment section because this is my first YouTube tutorial. I've been doing a bunch on Snapchat if you guys follow us. I've been breaking down like a couple sounds that we made in our songs that you guys like. If you guys hear something in one of our songs that you want to know how we made, hit us up on Snapchat or Twitter and we'll try to do a tutorial on it. Today I'm going to show you how I did the chords in Roses, which a lot of people have asked me about, and they're really simple. I'm excited to show you how I did them. So obviously if you've heard the song Roses, I'm going to show you how to make this part. So there's actually a couple sounds, and the layers are what make this really special. I'm going to take everything off of it, off of like the group that I have all of these sounds in. Say all this shit I'm not even using. No, it's even in there. That just is going to confuse people. So I have about 4 sounds that are making up the main, like all these chords. The main one is obviously this one. So what makes this really dope obviously is like the chords. Like if you were to even play this on a piano, let's just bust out a Nexus piano. This Nexus grand piano is cool. Just still bumps, you know? So I actually wrote those on this synth. So let's break it down how I made them. So this is a preset that I made in Sylenth. So Sylenth has basically four oscillators that you can use. As you can see, there's one in part A and there's one in part B, and then the filters over here you can use to kind of like mix them together. And then they're also controlled, like the velocity over here is controlled by this, I don't even know what this thing is called. Oh, this envelope, I guess. And this also controls the cutoff envelope, which will basically control the harshness of the sound. So let's start with the basics. This is oscillator 1, it's white noise. Without it, the voices are basically giving, you know, power to that oscillator in the synth. Sorry if that's not articulate enough. But the main actual chord sounds, so let's take out that, are so you have a pitched up second saw oscillator here, and then let's see, I had a 2 voices on this square oscillator over here, which is 1 octave below that one. So without this, it's, and then when you add it back in, it's, and then this I had, I think 2, 4 sounds right. That's too many. So as you can hear, as I'm adding voices, I'm basically adding more layers. That's like the layman's way to describe it. So here, 4 sounds like it's full-bodied enough, so that's like where I stood. And I added this one voice to this white noise oscillator over here, which gives it that really crisp, really like the crispness. That alone is just, I don't know who this solo it, but that alone is just. So little like things like that add a lot to basically the presence of the sound in the mix. Then EQ, I turn the treble frequency up pretty high. This will just add also crispness to the sound. So as you can hear, without the reverb, EQ, and compressor on, it's pretty like tight and choppy, but it gets vibey once you throw this EQ on. So the compressor kind of cuts out the harshness of the high end. Reverb adds that nice like spatial tail and you know, throws that sound into space. And the EQ just kind of, I used it to crispen up the sound. So that's that one sound. So that's honestly the majority of the sound. But there's also this 808 bass that I have playing a different melody. I made this in massive. As you can see, it's just one simple like sine square oscillator pitched down 2 octaves. And let's see if I did, yeah, there's a classic tube and dimension expander that kind of adds some distortion to the sound, so it's not just a straight sine wave. I like to do that. I think it adds like personality and whatnot. Then I basically cut off all the high end because that's not really what the sound is made for. and I had it playing a little bit different of a melody, as you can hear. So the other melody is going da 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 da, and this one's going da 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 da. Sorry if I was off tune there. Basically having the 808 bass do like a different melody kind of elaborates on what the chords are doing and kind of makes you notice different parts of them. So I always try to like switch up the bass pattern a little bit so it doesn't follow with like the lowest note in the chord progression is doing. And I also look for the notes that sound best using that bass instrument, and that's what it was in this case. This sound isn't doing much. I basically just added that to add something to like the mid-range bass because I filtered so much out of the 808 bass. And then I just found this like weird sound in Nexus that's like a siren that's just, so you can barely hear, but when it's all mixed together, it kind of has this, gives it this ringing quality halfway through the drop. So together it's, so that's all I did sonically, and then if you're following me on Snapchat, you'll see I did a little like Snapchat tutorial using Nicky Romero Kickstart plugin. It's a super basic plugin. I just downloaded it because I was curious to see what cable guys and Nicky Romero would come up with, but it actually came in really useful for this song and became like a pretty central part of the bounciness of like the Roses drop. It has just a bunch of like sidechain presets, so they're basically just like volume envelopes where the volume will duck according to the curve that's drawn in this preset. So it's just the basic one, and this is what gives it like the real bounce. This is just going to duck automatically on the quarter notes. So with that on, it sounds like this. So you can hear it poking out there. That's why it says da 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 da. You can hear it kind of like poking out of the envelope. So that, and there's a little EQ that's taking out a little bit of the mid-range, and that's pretty much it. So the drums, that's... So I'll keep doing more tutorials. We're going to do a full expanded tutorial on how we made this entire song, drums, vocals, everything, and kind of the story behind it with Future Music Magazine, but that's not coming out for like a month or so. So I figured I'd do this tutorial to get things popping for you guys, and if you want to know how we make more of our sounds, hit us up on Twitter, comment on YouTube. I grew up like and taught myself to produce like off of YouTube tutorials, so I figured it was about time to like give back and show people how we make our music. So yeah, I'm just trying to be as helpful for you guys as possible because I think the more music that's out there, the better the whole scene will get. So hit me up if you guys have questions. Follow us on Snapchat if you want to see more tutorials. It's just the Chainsmokers. Follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter. We're super responsive to everybody. If you're on our YouTube page, you probably already know that. But if not, you can always hit up those there. So hope this was helpful. Take care. Talk to you guys next time.